All right, so this one's hilarious because it proves a point. And it should this video should help people get their brain a little bit back into the game of who and what we're dealing with, mostly who. Okay, by now you should already know that Popcorn dumped something like 82,000 ape shares. Okay, he just did that. Well, the form was on the second, so he dumped these ape shares. The filing is there, and the reverse split is coming. Now you can look at it in a couple of different ways. He's dumping ape shares because he knows that there will be no more ape anymore, and he's going to gift himself a bunch of new shares on the other side because that's what they're voting for. The other side, you can say he dumped those shares to make them available to keep the price of ape down. Very possible. You can say he dumped those shares because at the end of the day, he already knows he's getting his reverse split. Think about that one. Why would you dump them at $2.79? I think it was like $2.79, He dumped them. Why would you dump them now if they're gonna go up in price? I mean, they're most likely gonna cover that gap between AMC and APE. They're technically the same stock. Anyway, you can go through a bunch of things, but please understand. Now, do you doubt me when this reverse split happens and they get the approval, the vote? The vote. When they get those extra shares created, which they always wanted, do you doubt me that they're gonna drop them like a hammer? Do you understand? That means that my run up to the reverse split, the reason why I'm like, woo, I'm pulling out of that one, because how do I know once they do the reverse split on the other side, they just don't, boom, dump those shares? It's technically, they're consolidating the share, the float. They're gonna ape and AMC reverse split, they're gonna shrink it, and then they're gonna dump shares and dilute it again. So it's really the same thing, but different, because now they're gonna have shares and they're gonna make money of it. It's like in boxing. Sometimes you gotta, in order to go forward, you gotta step back, let them lunge forward, and then you close the gap. This is what the mindset that they're doing. They're turning around and they're consolidating, like stepping back, the reverse split, reducing the amount of shares, and then they're gonna dump new shares on top of it. Now, what are those new shares gonna cover up? I wonder what. Anyway. But at the end of the day, they're gonna have shares. What do you think they're gonna do with those things? The man just dropped his ape. Like, you don't even need to be a detective in this thing. He dropped his ape. So if he dropped his ape, he already knows there will be no ape. So that means as far as you voting, vote no, it don't mean anything. And then on the second side of it, I'm like, what makes you think if that man had millions of shares again in his possession and the stock was running high, he wouldn't just dump everything? Of course he would. Of course he's going to. He's done it before. So I'm just telling you what he's done. Once again, boxing analogy. If you know you got a guy that, for lack of a better word, he's like one of these freaking, slobs of a fighter. All he does is giant hooks, giant hooks, giant hooks, giant hooks. You understand that all his fights, this is all he does. You already can predict what he's going to do and how you got to fight him. This is what it is. This guy drops shares. This company drops shares. They don't make their money from the movies. That's a facade. That's how they keep this. That's how they keep the lights on in the place. That's how they keep the business running. But at the end of the day, their money is made in the stock sales. So here we go. You don't need any more proof that if this group of people has shares, they're gonna dump them hard. That's why I said the video I did yesterday, the AMC Danger Zone. You got to be very careful, because once they got those shares in their hands, that is what this is all about. Those shares, because they ain't gonna have no more apes anymore. They're only gonna have apes, us, everybody. They're only gonna have us for a little bit of time. Literally, like, wow. Minutes after this is all done, after the reverse split and the run up, whatever, they're only going to have us for a couple of minutes, 20, 30, 40, 45 minutes, if anything. And then that's it. It's over. No matter what happens, it's over. That's it. You know, it's you don't need to see anything else but that to know what we're facing. So people tell me, so why would you get out of it before the reverse split? The man just showed it right there. And they're gonna arm them with more. They're gonna arm them with more shares, and they're in debt and they need money. There you go. There you go. So, but you hold on to your apes. You make sure you hold on to them, even though your fearless leader just dumped his. I can't no more. I can't. He'll probably put out a tweet later. I still hold some ape. I hope this many ape, whatever. Yeah, he'll probably dump them next week. Here's the deal. There's a difference between his stocks and your stocks. You paid for your stocks. He got gifted his stocks. Understand? So just be safe. Just be safe.